Hello and welcome to this episode of the Geekday podcast, where we turn your weekday into a geek day. I'm one of your hosts, Robert Tijerina, and with me today, of course, we have the new face of the Geekday podcast and Miss Popceptive herself, Miss Natalie Ibarra. Nat, how you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. I'm a little tired and sleep deprived, but other than that, we're doing fantastic.
I think we all are. We're kind of before this. We were talking about how crazy our today has been specifically. So we're all just kind of a little, but we're gonna get through this today.
A little woozy.
Well, a little woozy. Also, who just said he's a little woozy? With us today, sorry, I'm like all over the place. With us today, we also have the Dark Soul, Mr. Dan Gomez. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good, Rob.
Doing good.
A little woozy.
Little woozy. Yeah, it's been a day for all of us. I think
that's the word of the day today.
Yeah, I think literally all of us just got home at 5:00, and we were all just like, "Oh man!" I took a nap like before this, so I'm like still a little sleepy. But guys, I'm glad you guys are here with me today, as always, every single Wednesday at 8:00 on Twitch.tv and Facebook. So if you're joining us on Facebook today, welcome. But also, I want to know what y'all guys have been watching, because we try to keep us like going on with entertainment as much as we can. So, Nat, I think you told us you watched a little something. What you?
Yes. We watched Scoob, which I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen it yet, but it's a new Scooby-Doo movie. I don't know if you two have seen it. It's a new Scooby-Doo movie.
I've seen a bunch of really cool stuff about it. I haven't seen the movie, like, period,
Same.
but I know it was like one of the first movies to like adopt that $20 like rental price or whatever for like the movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah,
so when we watched it was free, I believe, on, because it's been a while since it came out. I think it's now free on HBO. But you know, I love Scooby-Doo. I think the best Scooby-Doo special is the WWE Scooby-Doo special. And
what?
Wow,
that's random.
That's interesting. It's an interesting pick.
That is the best one. But so I was really excited to watch it, and I'm not gonna lie, I may have fallen asleep during the movie. It just did not hold my interest. I think it was definitely made for the younger audiences, and you could just really feel that throughout the kind of writing. But I feel most animated films today are able to kind of grasp in the older audiences, and I just feel like this one was just streamlined straight for the youngsters, because I crashed out when I watched this film.
Wow, that's disappointing, because it looked decent, but I didn't really hear any good things about it when it first, I guess, came out. Like I heard the cast is fantastic. There's a fantastic cast, but like everyone's kind of like weird when they're in the movie. Like I heard like Freddie Prinze Jr. comes back in for like a cameo or something like that. But honestly, I have no idea. But I'm probably gonna check it out because I have HBO Max. So if it's like free on there, I'll probably watch it.
It's free.
Dan, what about you, man? What you been watching?
So, I just barely got to watching Knives Out this past Friday. I know. I waited way too long to watch that movie. I just hadn't had the opportunity. It was great. It was so good. Like there were some things that really good. You know, you follow along and you think, oh man, I think I know where this is going, and then it just like turns it on his head. Everything about that movie was so good. The pacing, the writing, the dialogue, and just like the little details that are sprinkled in and around the movie, where it's like, I feel like that's something, but I don't know. And then it comes back later, and you're like, oh, I caught that. I caught that.
Little finger
My only gripe with the movie is that I could not grow the Southern accent.
Oh, I know.
Did not grow on me.
I know you were gonna say that.
Southern accent.
I don't know. It did not work for me. I couldn't.
Southern drawl.
Yeah. His Southern drawl, yeah.
Well,
it was.
I
No, see, that's the thing is, I watched it with my girlfriend Mickey, and I told her, you know who he sounds like? He sounds like Michael Scott when he does that, like, I do declare.
Yes.
He sounded exactly like that. I was waiting for him to say, I do declare.
And he does. Say it.
Does he really?
He does say it. Yeah. Like
Did
near
I miss
the
that?
end.
I must have missed that.
Near the end.
I gotta watch it again then, I guess.
8 times. I saw it like twice in theaters and stuff
Holy
like that.
cow.
Oh,
I
wow.
love that movie. As soon as it came
It's a
out,
good movie.
it's a good movie. As soon as it came out, I bought it. Like I have it on Vudu, so I can watch it wherever I want. But man,
Mm.
that movie is so good.
It's really good. It was
It
really,
is.
really good.
Yeah, for
It's really
me, I've also had a pretty busy week. I was doing homework, and while I was doing homework, the entire time I was rewatching The Boys. Oh man, we kind of like talked about it. Me and Dan were talking about it a little before the show started, and Nat's never seen The Boys, so she needs to get on that because it just got greenlit for season 3, even though season 2 hasn't come out yet. But man,
Wait, what? Really?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
season 2 has not come out yet.
Season 3?
Yeah.
They jumped the gun.
They jumped it. Well, it's honestly such a great show. Like
It's fantastic.
It's funny. It's dark. It's super depressing at points.
And the story is just really compelling too.
Yeah, it's
like you get invested in how all the characters just like get involved with each other in ways that are just it's so good. Like
yeah, like the way that they kind of like turn the whole, because like we live in the era of superheroes right now, where we know the Marvel Cinematic Universe as these characters that are good and like happy and
The
like,
Golden Boys.
yeah, the Golden Boys.
Yeah.
And like once you like dive deep into this universe of the Boys, where they're owned, the superheroes are owned by a corporation, and like they're basically like the superheroes that we see today, but they are more like commodities, I suppose, like you could say.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like they're owned and they're franchised, and it's like, hey, we're gonna do this new movie. Hey, Queen Maeve, you're gonna be a star of it. Blah blah blah. And, like their crimes are like thought up before, and they have camera crews there to like show up. It's like super interesting, and
Yeah.
And then you have the revenge stories of like multiple different characters and the actual characters of the Boys, like Mother's Milk and and Butcher and Huey and Frenchie is my favorite character.
I love Frenchie, man.
Frenchie is so, the way they introduce him with like the French rap. I've been listening to the soundtrack all day today, actually, and like the French rap's called Le Fou, which means the fool. But like, man, like the way like he's like so like he's the demolitions expert, but he's such like a softie. It's like it's so good. Now
It's really good. Yeah.
I cannot recommend that show enough to people.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not, it is very vulgar. It is very, very vulgar.
Oh yeah, it's very vulgar.
But if you can get past that, if you can get past the vulgarity and the kind of, I guess, brutalness of the show to kind of get to the story that they're trying to tell, definitely go for it. Kind of like Game of Thrones. But I would say I enjoy this show way more than Game of Thrones.
Ooh, I have not seen Game of Thrones either, so.
You haven't seen Game of Thrones?
I know. I know. But there's also like 50,000 hours worth of it, isn't
that's
it?
true. Hey, look, it's Dracula.
Yeah.
Hi, Dracula.
Oh, can we get a hi Dracula in the chat?
Oh.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our first thing. And last week we tried out a little something called Civil War. So this week, actually, let me reveal the results from last week. And
yes.
it sat 1-1, and we had people go ahead and talk to us on Twitter about who they think what movie they thought was the worst. Which it was The Amazing Spider-Man 2 versus Venom, and a lot of people were coming for Nat's throat.
I know.
They were saying
know.
this Venom slander, and I knew that was gonna happen. I knew people were gonna come for Nat's
But
throat.
also, there were a few people who had my back, and
There were.
were saying
true.
that.
So, if you want drum roll, please, the quick little drum roll. With 44 votes at 70.5%, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is considered the worst Spider-Man movie. So that has Dan at 2 points, Natalie at 1 point, and today I'm going to be entering the ring for the very first time. So this week we have Nat giving out the questions, and Nat, go ahead and take it away from here. Go ahead and give us the very first question, if you will.
Okay, so I thought long and hard about these questions. And you guys both sent in your answers. They weren't the same answer, which I thought was really interesting. So the first question is, well, first I guess I should tell you guys that you guys have 45 seconds for your first answer, and then we'll do 30 seconds for your second. So let me get the timer
All right.
set up.
In the meantime, Dan.
The question.
Well, I was gonna give him heads or tails first, so let's see who
Oh,
goes
okay,
first.
okay,
So,
yes.
Dan, heads or tails?
Sure. I'll take heads.
Okay, let's flip the coin, and it landed on heads. So, do you want to go first or second, Dan?
I will grant you
I hate
the
you.
opportunity to go first.
Okay, I hate you, but let's go ahead and do it.
Okay. We have 45 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
And the question is, what is the best Disney movie soundtrack?
All right, tell me when to go.
Go.
All right, the best Disney movie soundtrack is easily The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This musical is by far some of the best musicals in all of Disney, honestly, all Broadway history. It is what Stephen Schwartz and Alan Menken. Stephen Schwartz, right before he wrote Wicked and like redid the music for Pippin, like the fact that they got Stephen Schwartz in the very, very beginning, this movie literally propelled his career right before he decided to quit. So you have music such as Hellfire, you have God Save the Outcast, you have the Bells of Notre Dame. The fact that there's just so many bangers that break down, like just completely crush your heart within this musical. That's all I really have to say. That's literally all I have to say.
Perfect.
Wow.
Perfect. That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
I did not know some of those facts that you were spinning.
I'm a Disney
pretty good.
fan,
Wow.
man.
Okay, Dan, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Ready, set, go.
This movie is so overlooked, and I feel like so many people don't give it enough credit. It is The Jungle Book, the original Jungle Book. The music in this one just really, it drives the point home that this young kid Mowgli is just hanging out with this groovy blue bear in the middle of a jungle, and like all the music is, you can't help but want to groove to the music. You know, you have I Want to Be Like You with King Louie and the Bare Necessities. You have the what's the name of the Vulture song at the very end? That's like the barbershop quartet. Very almost Beatles-esque in the way that they harmonize with each other. It's all such great music. There's so much variety, and it really brings the world to life.
Okay.
Is it
Pretty
30-second
good,
rebuttal, or is it how many did we
Yes,
decide?
30 seconds. 30-second rebuttal. So, I will. Ready, Robert? Ready?
I'm ready.
Set, go.
The fact that you don't even remember the song, Dan? The fact that you didn't remember the song that the vultures sang in that movie? I was able to name as many songs from from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like, this musical is so amazing. Have you listened to Hellfire? Have you ever, like, seen the animation from that song? Dan, you are missing out. I'm sorry, Jungle Book is a fantastic movie. I will give you that. But the way that just the cinematic masterpiece and the music of I'll stop there. I told Dan I was gonna come swinging today.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, Dan, it's okay. Here's your chance to rebuttal. Are you ready?
Yes.
Hey,
Ready, set, go.
That's what friends are for. That's the name of the song. All right. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but it still has this lasting impact on me. You know, I remember hearing the music as a kid and thinking, man, this is such a great time. You know, even the music that's supposed to be like strict and everything, the Elephants March, such a great time. And it's like, you're coming at me with your Hellfire and everything. I'm just trying to live with the bare necessities, man. I'm trying to vibe with Baloo.
With Baloo. I'm weak.
Baloo.
Okay, all right. Okay, so y'all both did pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with the both of y'all. I think Dan did a really good job of kind of capturing the like natural simplicity, explaining all that.
The bare necessities.
Yes, the bare necessities of the film. But Robert also just kind of was able to hit us with those quick facts and just stuff that I didn't really know about the film. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
so,
dang.
Wow.
It was
Oh.
interesting learning all this stuff. However, this is all to say that I will have to give the point to Robert, only because he hit us with those facts. And I mean, I went in kind of, being like, Hunchback of Notre Dame, but I mean, you can't lie when it's such phenomenal writing.
So Rob
okay.
is now officially the Ben Shapiro of Disney. Facts and logic.
I saw a
Okay,
TikTok
are
today
y'all-
about Ben Shapiro, and it was so funny. I'll send it to you after the podcast, Dan.
All right.
Okay. Are y'all ready for the second question of
Yes,
the Civil
absolutely.
War segment? Okay, so this one again, very different answers, so a little spicy. So we're gonna see. We'll do Robert first, and then Dan, or we'll do
Dan first, yeah.
Dan
Yeah,
first,
switch
and
it
then
over.
Robert. That's right. Okay.
I was like, whoa, I wasn't prepared
So
for this.
45 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, go.
How can Hades not be the greatest Disney villain ever? He's fast talking, he's witty, he's charismatic, he's got a great design, and he's just flat out hilarious. Like, you want to hate him because he's such a terrible character in the movie, but he's so good though. He's so charismatic, and you can't help but love him as this person that you love to hate him because of his charm and his wits and his powers, and just everything about him is just so good.
You're really
Oh,
machine the rest of your time?
You have 5 seconds?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow, he's done. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready.
There
Gotta
you
love
go.
Hades.
Let me out of the cage.
Okay, so let's see. Let me. Okay, so Robert, you're going to tell us who is the best Disney villain. Are you ready? You have 45 seconds
I'm
on
ready.
the clock.
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Danielson. D'Anthony. The
He's
best
wasting time.
the best Disney villain. Again, is from the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frollo. How he carries himself throughout the entire movie, that kind of he's better than everyone in all of France, is just completely like, that's what I love in a villain. The fact that he is so hypocritical in everything that he does. Like, he says that, gypsies are sinners, but he's lusting over this woman Esmeralda. It's just like, it's chef's kiss. The way he completely shuts off a whole human being for the rest of civilization just because he looks a little different. Like, that's completely and he completely brainwashes him and makes
Time.
wow.
Time.
That was a lot faster than I remember. Okay.
Yeah, because you wasted time at the beginning.
Okay. Time for rebuttals. Are you ready, Dan? Do you have your thoughts collected? Are you ready to wow us with your answer?
I am, yes.
Okay, 30 seconds this time.
All right.
Ready, set, go.
Those are the marks of a great villain and a person that you can't help but hate. Yes. But with Hades, you can almost relate to him. And I feel like that makes a villain more compelling, when you have a hard time disagreeing with their motives or their demeanor or their, just them as a character. And kind of like Thanos, you have a hard time completely disagreeing with Thanos. Same with Hades. Yeah, Thanos doesn't have that kind of charm that he does, but all right.
Pretty good. Okay. Robert, this is your last chance. Are you ready?
Crack. Yeah, let's go ahead. Ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
How do you emphasize with Hades? Empathize with Hades. Sorry, I can't talk. His whole plan is basically just to kill a child and, basically rule over the heaven and earth, just because he was knocked out of a bad deal. Frollo is literally grabs Quasimodo's mother and throws her on the steps and coolly just kills her. Literally murders his mom. And that's literally the propelling thing that continues the entire rest of the movie. He locks up a dude in the cathedral. Sorry. Woo.
Time.
Woo. I'm
Get a
I'm
little
spicy.
heated.
I'm a little heated. I knew I was gonna get a little spicy today, so. Woo.
Okay. So, Dan, you know Hades. I have to say I do really like Hercules and Hades. I get what you're saying with the whole you can kind of empathize with him. There's this dynamicness to him. He's not just evil, he has some humor too. I get it. And Robert, that he's just plain evil. Like it's just straight to the point. He is not a good guy. And I have to say, I'm gonna have to give it to Robert again.
You hear that, Dan?
I'm sorry.
2-0.
I'm sorry, Dan.
That's okay.
But Robert's answer the guy's so bad. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like he's just not a good guy. And Hades, I feel like, is more kind of a villain that's a little bit more lovable, while that guy's just straight up bad. But we'll ask the comment what they have. Let's see.
So
let's see.
Way back, Zach says +1 for Dad's wittiness. That's when he called me Ben Shapiro. And then Josh says Hades 10 out of 10. Him and his little Danny DeVito demons. That's hilarious. Pain and Panic are
hell yeah,
amazing. And then also said, bro, they got Noah Centineo to play Hercules in the new movie. Wow, really? Really?
I did not know that.
I did not
Who
know
is that?
either.
I'm dumb. I don't know who that is.
He's the dude from All the Boys I've Ever Loved, something like that.
Loved Before.
Yeah, it's a Netflix like rom-com, like a teenage rom-com.
Think what the famous boy right
yes,
now.
I'm looking at him and I see that. Yes.
You can see that, yeah.
I can see that, yes.
Just got here, don't know what's happening.
SDS says Dan won that hands down. Well, you can actually follow us on Twitter if you want, and go down below at Geekday Podcast, and we're gonna have one of these questions up there at the end of the show. If you go ahead and vote for whichever one, that'll get an extra point for the next person. So the current standings are for the Geekday Civil War is Dan sitting at 2 points, Rob sitting at 2 points, and Natalie at the very bottom with 1 point. Maybe someday she'll get another point. But that is the end of
next week.
Next week.
I got
next week. We'll see.
Can I just say one last thing on the whole thing? Is with I didn't even know that they were making a live action Hercules. If they do not get Danny DeVito as Phil, and if they do not get Jeff Goldblum as Hades, I will literally riot.
I thought you were going to say James Woods for a second. I was like, please not James Woods.
No. I think Jeff Goldblum could do a fantastic
He would be a
Hades.
fantastic Hades.
And I agree with Danny DeVito. Like,
yeah, it's gotta be
riding with you.
It's gotta be him.
Ibarra 4602 says you have my point, Natalie. So you have make that Natalie has 1 point and then an imaginary point on the side. But thank you so much for joining us this week on the Geekday Civil War. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more into the actual news now. But again, follow us on Twitter, and then on there, we're going to have a poll. Whoever receives the most votes is going to get an extra point. So will I be 3 points, or will Danny get 3 points? We'll see. Just make sure
you're breaking the tie.
I'll be breaking the tie.
Yep.
Right. So let's go ahead and get into the news. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about, or that we're really going to talk about, is if you couldn't tell so far, we're all a little spicy right now. We are we're a little tired, and I wanted to take some time out of the podcast to do a little new segment called Nerdy Rant of the Week. So basically, this is just going to be our own time to kind of talk about our own specific topic that we just want to get off our own chest. And Nat has been wanting to rant about something for the past 2 weeks that I'm finally gonna let. So that she's been like, "Hey, can we talk about this? Hey, can we talk about this?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna find it eventually." But today I was like, you know what? We're all gonna just rant about something today. So Nat, I want you to go ahead and tell me a little bit about how much you hate, the current streaming wars and Peacock. So
take it away.
Take it away, Nat.
Okay, so when we were going to talk about this whole Peacock situation, it was right when it had just dropped. It had just dropped on all the let me rephrase that. Not all the applications, but it had dropped on most of them. However, if you don't know, NBC created this new streaming service. It's called Peacock, and it's one of many streaming services that now exist out there. You have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and so now we have NBC's Peacock. And so when this dropped, I wasn't too sure how I felt about it. It kind of made me to start to forced me to think about the streaming wars and how streaming has just changed so much. They're playing us. They are playing us, is what I'm trying to get to. They really think that we're just gonna sit here and take it. There's all these streaming points, excuse me, for it, in the beginning it started off really great. It's a great option. You could watch TV anywhere, anytime, no commercials. It was cheaper than cable. You could have access to, you could watch it anywhere, off your phone, on your computer. And so it was amazing. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? And then slowly but surely, as it went on, the costs just started outweighing the benefits. At least in my opinion, that's how I feel. I feel like now prices are increasing. All these streaming services are not just this flat rate. You're having to pay more and more. You can watch, just this limited amount of shows, but they're going to have ads. Or you can get all the shows, but then some will have ads. Or you could get no ads at all and pay like $15, $17 a month. And so it's just racking up costs. It's not cost efficient anymore. We're not locked into contracts, so we're not locked into rates, which means if you're not paying attention to your email, this has happened to me once or twice before, it just raises up and then I'm charged more the next month because I'm not paying attention, and it's just not worth it. Also, you have the grabbing wars between the streaming services, and as we could see with Peacock, since NBC now has a streaming service, we're going to have shows taken off of Netflix, like The Office is coming off of Netflix, Parks and Rec is coming off of Netflix. They're pooling their TV shows and movies, and so suddenly when you could watch everything in one place, now you're having to purchase multiple services to just watch the shows that you're trying to watch. And so I know I'm heavily ranting. I don't know. Dan, Robert, how do you feel about this? Have you all even thought about this?
I absolutely agree. Like everything, I just think it's so funny how fired up you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree that there's no like
with good reason.
Yeah, like you have a reason to like why, you should be upset, because I mean there are so many. Like it's like at this point, yes, you don't need cable anymore, which is, I think is awesome. Like you just need to pay for internet. But basically, you're just paying for channels. Like you're literally paying for channels, like you would do a Prime, like a Prime channel. Like you would buy HBO when you had a cable package, or you would buy XYZ. So you're paying so many more dollars. Like, what is the cost outweigh sort of thing? And there's no grandfathering into these situations. Like unless you say like you pay attention to your email, where it's like, hey, or like Netflix raised it from like $12.99 to $14.99. And that's like $2 extra, but at the end of the day, that's $2 extra that could go towards bills or something like that. So
but it's not, it also adds up when it's like Netflix raising it, and then Amazon Prime raises, and then Disney Plus. Well, oh my god, yeah.
Dan, what about you, man? How do you feel about the streaming wars and the Peacock?
Yeah, it's something that I guess you really think about. I'd say maybe a lot of people don't really think about. But when you really get down to brass tacks, it's like, God, we're really paying like $7, $8, $14 for multiple services just so we can watch one show here or two shows there or one movie there. And it's like, at some point you got to ask yourself, like, is it worth it for that? Like, I haven't owned cable since like 2015. And that's because that year I had it for free. But since I've had to pay for cable, I don't prefer it. So I do use only streaming services to watch movies and TV shows and all that. But like, I don't own all of them. Like I pay for Hulu and Disney Plus. I mooch off of my grandmother for Netflix, and I mooch off of my girlfriend for Amazon Prime.
Nice.
So and I feel like Yeah, right. Can we get a plug for Mickey? Um, so, and I feel like if you have these people in your life that you're really close to, you have no problem sharing your accounts with them because I think you can empathize. Hey, you shouldn't have to pay for all these services if I'm not paying for all these services. Like, let's help each other out. You can have my account for this. I'll have your account for that. Um, so I guess that's a nice little workaround for it, but I know that that can't work for everybody. But
So let me go ahead and ask then. As of right now, with all the streaming services, we have HBO Max, we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have Amazon Prime, we have Peacock, we have XYZ. What do y'all think is the best bang for your buck right now? Like personally to you, like doesn't necessarily be for everyone. What do you feel like? Okay, like I'm paying an actual good price for this right now. What would y'all like? For me, I would say probably HBO Max for me. I know it's still a relatively new program, streaming service, but there's still like great things that it has. Has Miyazaki films and what's it called. It has everything from HBO. It has Sesame Street. It has Rooster Teeth stuff. It has all these bigger things that they kind of just like merge. Oh, Cartoon Network. Crunchyroll.
wait, that's on there?
Yeah, they have Cartoon Network and Crunchyroll stuff, and like they're gradually putting more and more stuff on there, and it's $15.99, I believe it is. That I'm still on the 7-day free trial or whatever, but I know I'm going to continue using it because I personally love it. You get movies, you get TV shows, you get all this sort of stuff, and they just plan so much more. We have something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in further news, but that's my biggest bang for the buck. Paradox Theory says, I pay for Amazon Prime, Crunchyroll, Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus. I use them, but a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's like $60
It's a
right
lot
there.
of money. That's what I'm saying. They're playing us, y'all.
Yeah. Nat, what about you? What do you think is the biggest buck for you? Like, what are you like? I'm okay with paying this much money.
I'm not gonna lie. I do watch Disney Plus a lot. They have like all the OG Disney movies on there, and I mean they've licensed some of them to Netflix and all the other streaming services. So some of them are missing, but at the end of eventually they will have all the Disney movies, all the Marvel movies, all the Star Wars movies. They're doing new series on there that will be coming out. So there's new content that's headed our way, and I just think that it's great all around. Plus they had a Hamilton, so I was a sucker for that.
That was a really great ad that they did. Honestly, that's the first time
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
back on Disney Plus in a long time. But Dan, what about you, man? What is your biggest bang for your buck right now with when it comes to?
To be honest, Disney Plus.
Really?
Honestly,
Okay.
yeah. Just kind of for the same reasons that she said. Like it's gonna have everything on there that I feel we haven't had access to in that way in a long time. Like a lot of these old Disney movies that were in the quote unquote the vault, whatever that means. I still don't know what that means, but
It's just a way for them to like make more money. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, they rotate them
It's
out.
like, hey, we have
They
the
rotate.
Diamond Edition, we have the Pearl Edition, we have like, after 10 years in the vault. Like, shut up. Like, we know you're just. So that makes me angry. Anyways, continue.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, I'd say Disney Plus because of the fact that it does have all of those movies on there. Plus all, like you said, Star Wars, Marvel, new shows and all this and that. Hamilton, of course. So yeah, I'd say that. I mean, Netflix is great too. You can't go wrong with Netflix. There's always something to watch on there. But yeah, I would say Disney Plus. Second place, probably Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trejo the Giant says the Disney Plus pack gives you Hulu, ESPN, and Disney for like $13 a month. Yeah, that's a really good deal. That's a super good deal.
That's a bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Joss said, "Remember when Netflix was $8 in 2011? The good old days."
Good old days. I remember like
Pour
we would
one
still
out.
have to like I was gonna say what Ibarra46 Mrs. Ibarra says. Hello, Mrs. Ibarra. Remember when Netflix was a DVD mail subscription? I do remember that. I remember right before Netflix was going in. I remember Blockbuster was doing that. Blockbuster had like the yellow what's it called, the yellow packages and stuff like that. And then as soon as Netflix is going, Blockbuster was making their own online thing, and then Netflix just like took off. And so that shut down Blockbuster for forever. Let's see. Trail John says, "How else are you gonna watch The Black Cauldron if it doesn't come out on in the vault?" God, I've never seen Black Panther, so it's
I've
just like.
never seen that one either. I
Neither
don't
have
even know what that is.
It's a Disney movie. It's an older Disney movie from like the dark ages
Okay.
of Disney. It's like one of the
The
only good movies.
racist ages.
Yeah, probably. But Dan, you have another thing that I was gonna add into the actual like news part of our of our show. But
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as I read this, I was like, oh, either Dan knows about this and he's angry or like really excited about it, or he has no idea, and I'm just gonna throw it to him like at the last second so he can learn. But Dan,
Yeah.
you have something really really cool that I know you probably want to rant about.
Yeah, so a few days ago there was this massive leak, it's a giga leak of these Nintendo files that were posted on the gutter of the internet, 4chan. And basically, here I'm looking at the Polygon article, and it says over a dozen classic Nintendo games, Super Mario World, cancel Zelda 2 remake, Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, all these file leaks, I guess like unused assets, and things that didn't make it to the final cut. There was some pretty neat stuff in here. A lot of it was just like the first 3D model for Link in Ocarina of Time, and it's just a bunch of like squares and triangles. So there's that. There was some unused, or I guess beta sprites for Pokemon in the Generation 4 games, Diamond and Pearl, where they look like kind of just colorful blobs with eyes. There were high-res pictures, high-resolution art of certain items from Ocarina of Time. You can see like fabric detail on Link's tunic and the fire inside of Din's fire and all that stuff. Let me see what else. There was inside it.
That was like they had a special character within Ocarina of Time that was like supposed to be like a final boss, where they called it like Knuckle Knight or something like that. Where I was like, it's like it was really cool to see like all these different all these different things that are like they found Luigi. I know like Ranger Blue says in the chat.
Yeah,
they found Luigi that was like playable in Mario 64, but it was never actually put out.
Wow. F for Luigi.
Yeah, can you get
but yeah, and there's some other stuff in there that that I did find pretty interesting, and it was like the reason why Star Fox 2 got canceled is, let me see, I'm reading the tweet right here. The real reason that Star Fox 2 got canceled, never released, was because its staff was too busy focusing on internal drama on porn. And that's exactly what it says in one of the data files that was posted, and that's just. Yeah, that's something, all right.
I didn't read about that.
Can we get an F for Nintendo? So,
I mean, they're doing fine now, so.
Yeah, right?
They're doing fine.
So, as a person who has been an avid Nintendo fan since I remember my first thought, it's interesting to see these kinds of like behind the scenes things in terms of like all these big budget games that they're known for. But at the same time, as somebody who does dabble in different art forms, and I know you can relate to this, Rob, when you have like a draft for something or a beta version, something that you know is just like a placeholder, you know it's not the final product, you're going to work at it, that's not meant to be seen by people, at least not in a wide sense, you know? And I don't know how I feel about these leaks. On one hand, it's really cool to see how we got to where we are from where they started. But at the same time, we obviously were never supposed to see this stuff if it's just coming to light now.
Yeah.
And so, it kind of goes back to people who hack certain companies, like when they did the Last of Us 2 leaks and all this and that, the Naughty Dog leak. I can't say that it sucks. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I don't know. It's not the best thing in the world, and I feel like if it's not meant to be seen and it's not harmful, then leave it as it is. And if they want to release these unused sprites and all this history behind certain games, they'll release it to the public, but don't go digging through somebody's drawers, because that's a kind of an invasion of privacy, even if it is a big budget company.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I understand, like how you said, like it's part of the creative process. There's things that you scrap and you take away and stuff. And I'm so against leaks. I'm 100% against leaks and stuff like that. When I was younger, I know I'm still like 12, but when I was back in high school, I'll admit to like watching some leaks of some specific things. I won't say what. Please don't come arrest me. But
they're on their way.
Yeah, they're on their way. I hear the sirens outside. What's it called? But yeah, I mean, like, it's when I realized that there's so much more work put into these sort of things, and like how companies can be put through, I don't want to say turmoil, but like put through these challenges of certain things, kind of like you're saying, through like porn or whatever. That should stay behind closed doors unless they decide to tell it. Yes, it is very cool to see all these things. It's cool to see sprites, to see like hidden bosses and stuff like that. But if it's not meant to be seen, then it shouldn't be meant to be seen, But yeah, Nat, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you too. Like, I do graphic design, and so seeing, like, I don't know, like, all the time and effort that's put into these projects, and then for it to just kind of be like, have the curtain ripped up. I mean, I'm all for, like you said, Dan, like, kind of learning more about like this creative process, kind of seeing the background. I like learning about all this, but at the same time, I will not stand for any leaks. I hate leaks. I think that it's completely disruptive and disrespectful to the creative process. And honestly, if you're a real fan, you would not partake in leaks, whether it's a leak of a clip from a movie, video games, these file leaks. Like, if you really enjoy the company or the movie or whatever it is, you should have respect for it. I feel like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah,
definitely.
Totally, yeah. It's I feel ashamed of who I was back then to be like, yes, gimme, like, I want the juice, give me like whatever, I know, sorry, it's a very weird term, but I like, give me the meat, like, I want.
No,
this
you
right
get greedy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I want anything and everything I can have my hands on about this one thing.
Yeah, that makes entitled fans, and when you have entitled fans, we have the things that's happening with The Last of Us stuff, or it's they don't like the protagonist because a certain thing happened, blah blah blah, but. I think we should move on from this. We do have some news, and we are a little bit way into the show, so I would like to get some of the news, because I do have some stuff to rant about coming up. So no matter what my rant was, I still have one more thing that I want to go to town about. So we're gonna go ahead and do something that we're gonna call the Comic-Con Roundup. So we're just gonna go through everything that just came out, not necessarily everything, but the things that kind of struck us as a little bit more interesting. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the New Mutants had a panel on IGN for the Comic-Con at Home thing, and we were shown the first 2 minutes of the New Mutants. Did y'all guys watch the clip, or did y'all guys? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't, so I'm not going to have any opinion here. But I want to know, like, did y'all guys really enjoy the clip? Like, was it really cool? Like, I don't know, like, did the story seem like something that is worth waiting, X amount of years for this thing, like, to be put back so many times?
Anything's worth being pushed back that much, but I mean, I still thought it was pretty cool. It's kind of it kind of starts off with this voiceover, and we see, oh gosh, Danny, I can't remember her name, but she's like waking up, and she's talking about this Native American legend. That everybody has these two wolves fighting inside of them, which I thought it was two bears. She might have said bears, now that I think about it.
I think she did say bears, yeah.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like demon bear or something, right? Anyways, point is that it was all right, pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie, the panel did kind of get me a little bit more excited, only because they were leaning into the insanity of what is the New Mutants a bit. They were kind of poking fun at themselves at the fact that it's been delayed so long. Even the release date, when they released the little promo release video, they like added at the end like fingers crossed that it actually comes out on here. And so I like that. I like leaning into the insanity. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I like this.
What about you,
What
Dan?
about
What'd
you,
you think?
Dan?
So I didn't watch the panel, but I did watch the first 2 minutes of the
Mhm.
movie. As a
It's
complete
pretty good.
outsider, as a complete outsider, I mean, I have no reference into anything of what it's going to be about or anything like that. I don't know anything about the New Mutants. So I went in like expecting something great, at least great, for it being delayed so long. And what I got, to me, I don't want to sound rude or anything, but it felt like a movie that you would like a B movie that you'd see on sci-fi.
Yeah.
It felt very like overacted and cheesy, and I don't know.
It's going for like 90s campy horror feel. So
Okay, when you put it that way, I can see that. I
yeah,
can definitely see
Like
that.
that's the
Spider-Man
tone of the
1
movie.
sort of thing or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I can kind of see that now. I was afraid that was like supposed to be that wasn't intentional.
It's
Um
intentional. Yeah.
okay. Okay, cool. I can see
Oh,
that
thank
then.
God.
Yeah, thank God. I can respect it a little more now. But
Uh,
it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I have no interest to see this movie whatsoever. And it's not necessarily the fact that it's been pushed back so many times, because it's not their fault. It's genuinely not the fault that this movie, like, we make fun of this movie a lot. I just don't care. Like, I'm sorry, like, I just after. God, I'm trying to think when the first X-Men movie that I was just like, I'm done. I think it was
Apocalypse.
No, it was before that. Because I liked
First Class, maybe.
First Class was enjoyable, and so was Days of Futures Past. Those are the last after. I guess it was Apocalypse was the last one. I was just like, dude, man, these are bad. Like, I just like I don't care. I literally just don't care anymore. Where I'm ready for Disney to just take it and be like, hey, everything that happened all those years ago, delete. We're out. Like, we're starting brand new, and I want to see what the Disney X-Men is going to look like within the MCU. And so if this is just the last vestige of like that Fox
Honestly.
X-Men, just Control Alt Delete, get it out of here. I don't need that.
I definitely agree with that. Bring it to the MCU.
Yeah,
Please.
bring it to MCU.
Bring it to the MCU.
WandaVision.
Yeah, I think that's
hoping.
what's gonna happen. I hope that and then like the whole what's it called Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness thing is gonna really bring all these things. The Fantastic Four, the X-Men, all these characters.
We gotta have a podcast where we theorize on all that stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Boy, do I have some ideas.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's all we want to talk about the New Mutants. I don't really think. Louis says yes, absolutely yes. We would love to have everyone come into the MCU. But the next one is the one that I want to talk about, because I didn't know this was happening until Nat put it into our Discord, saying it's The Walking Dead: World Beyond. So we got a new trailer for the first season of The Walking Dead: The World Beyond, which is seeming like a teen drama that is set 10 years into the world of The Walking Dead. And oh my God, this looks terrible. It literally, like, I'm sorry. Like, I started watching this trailer, and I audibly said some obscenities that I'm not going to say on the show. But I was just like, oh my God, like, are they really still doing the show? And it's like, the show was good up to a certain point, and at this point, I think they've beat a dead horse, and it's just like, hey, zombie, 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 and then like they're
it's
like
a zombie horse.
Yeah, it's not. They're like, oh, what if we put kids as the protagonist and we make it a B like horror show or whatever? And like, there's like one little like, oh God, I'm sorry, I'm just so angry about how bad this looks, and it's just, I think like, to me, I put into our document and I was like, should we kill The Walking Dead? Like, does it deserve to keep going on and sucking up AMC's money? I mean, like, that's literally what all they have right now is what's it called? Is that, I think they have Preacher too, to be honest. But I mean, like, I'm sorry, I'm just tired of The Walking Dead, and it's not the fact that it's complete garbage, but it's like, let those characters retire, let them have an ending to their story, because once you have these characters for so long and there's no resolution or there's no more actual conflict, like what's the point of the show? It's just like, what, it's a reality show watching these people like live in a zombie apocalypse, and I don't know, it just makes me so upset. But that's my rant about that. That's what I wanted to go off about. Nat, what did you think about the trailer?
Okay, um, I had fallen off of the Walking Dead train for a little while, but I just recently like jumped back on. I just caught up again this past week, actually. I think it was this past week. And I've been watching The Walking Dead since season 1. We are on season 10 now, and it's been a long journey. I do kind of hear you where sometimes it does get repetitive, and I have to kind of take a break from it, and then I come back in, take it back. But it's still, the characters still compel me. I love Daryl with all my heart. He is my favorite character on the show. And Negan, I'm really enjoying this season as well. So when I heard they were going to do a spin-off, I wasn't too excited because it was going to be, like you said, following these teens. I don't really know how I feel about that. It was going to be taking place like 10 years after the apocalypse happened, so society is barely reforming. So I thought that was interesting. Then yes, I watched the trailer and I just was not, it was not good. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. I think the only like plus sides of the trailer were some of the walkers. Excited to see new that Walking Dead always does a great job of kind of hitting us with some of these walkers that are just unforgettable. And they had like a beehive, like a walker with like a beehive coming out of his face, and they had one with like a gas mask. And I think that would be interesting to kind of see these new walkers. But yeah, no, it didn't hit the mark for me this time around. What do you think, Dan?
I've never seen The Walking Dead, never had an interest in it. I have nothing to say on the topic except for yes, it does look bad. I will agree, it does look bad. But shout out to Nicholas Cantu, who is actually the voice of Gumball from the show Amazing World of Gumball. Oh, wow. He's in the show. No He's way. The kid with the curly hair.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I did not know that.
Yeah. God, so shout out to him. He's an awesome character. But that's all I have to say about it.
I kind of see what you're saying, Nat, about the the new walkers and stuff like that. Again, to me, that kind of seems more Last of Us. I feel like this is what this is trying to be. It's kind of like a teen Last of Us. Like, we're gonna go out. I didn't even
think about that.
And God, I hope I hope that AMC makes their money back. I'm sure they are, because it's The Walking Dead. Like Miss Ibarra said, I was and still am a fan of The Walking Dead, but and that's the thing. Like, there are going to be diehard fans of The Walking. No matter how many times, I'm like that old man. I'm that scene from The Simpsons where it's like old man yells at cloud. Like, I'm just yelling into the AMC universe, being like, please stop this. But,
why?
Why? And then there's me, who's still watching it.
Yeah, and that is the cloud. And that's just like, I'm gonna get vibing. But so the next thing we're gonna talk about is something that I showed Dan a long time ago. That I was like, oh, this looks really interesting, and I kind of, again, lost interest for it. But it's a new trailer for J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele's Lovecraft Country. It's an HBO show that takes place in the 1950s in Chicago, and it looks like it's focusing on a mixture of family, racism, and then also monsters. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out so you understand like what we're talking about, because I know like family, racism, and monsters kind of sounds like a very interesting, like, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, sort of thing. But to me, I started watching it and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. Like, I was like, oh, this is really, really cool. When it was like, the main characters really enthralled me, and then the monsters enthralled me, and then I didn't realize that there was going to be such a big like racism factor or stuff like that. So yeah. Like, to me, my question is, do you think that that's too much content for one show? Like, do you think, like, I can understand probably what they're going with, where it's like, oh, like, monsters and like racism, how like those are both like bad. It's like those are really going to be both the antagonists of the show. But do you think like those are complementary antagonists, or like do you think like those are like completely like do they conflict with each other? Like that's my thing. But
I don't think so. I think that it's supposed to take place in the 1950s, right? I believe.
yeah,
And so I think that's a really great time to kind of mesh these two together. There's like this really heavy like civil rights movement, and then also this American fascination with like sci-fi and monsters and stuff like that. And I think that I think about the Twilight Zone, and so how some of these episodes, were kind of like suspenseful horror episodes that were also social commentary, and I think it did it really well. So I think if done correctly, you also have Black Mirror, and so if kind of well that's more tech than monsters, but if done correctly, I feel like it can be pretty good. I think I'm interested in it. I think that it could really be kind of this socially charged horror show, and I'm here for it.
cool. Dan, what about you, man?
So I'm a huge Lovecraft fan.
Yes, you
I
are.
love as him as a person, no, but his creations, his contributions to the cosmic horror existentialism genre of writing and sci-fi. Like it's my favorite kind of horror. And so this hooked me instantly. It hooked me when you sent me that trailer however many months ago, and it hooked me again when I completely forgot about it and watched the trailer before we started filming. I think this is going to be so cool, because what I think is it's a racially charged show, and I feel like that's almost correct because Lovecraft was a staunch racist, and I feel like the family matters, not with Steve Urkel, but the matters of this family in this show. Lovecraft did not come from a great family. It was very like every family member kept to themselves, and so he was very isolated when he wrote these terrifying stories. And I think I don't know, maybe this is just a tinfoil hat theory, but I feel like that's almost supposed to mirror that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But also I like the idea that racism and Cthulhu are ugly monsters, and it's gonna like kind of make them one and the same in the show. And one detail that I did pick up from the trailer that I thought was really cool, and I really am excited to see how this goes, because obviously a lot of Lovecraft's work deals with the idea of madness, like being driven insane either by things that we can't comprehend or understand, stuff that's just way beyond our perception of reality. And I think that the way that they're going to portray madness in this is going to be really cool, because if you notice, there were very quick clips in the trailer where it looked like they were in different time periods.
Yes.
There was a quick clip where it looked like they were in the future. There was one that looked like they were in like modern day, like our time, and then one like way in the past. And I think that's going to be really cool, how the family gets manipulated somehow by whatever creature is behind all of this, and makes them see these things that their brains aren't ready to see, and that probably drives them mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about it.
The way you guys are talking about it, it's making me a little bit more excited than when I was before. That's why I always like to hear about other people's opinions and stuff like this. So maybe no matter what, I was gonna check it out no matter what. But I think I'm gonna go in with a little bit more of an open eyes and more, like actually try and like check it out. I'm gonna skip these next two stories to get to our big and meaty one, and then we can just circle right back to it after the end of it. Because I do want to talk about this. This is the big thing that's happening. That happened literally the day of our last podcast, and then I was like, oh, we should probably talk about this some point later on. But it is Twitch TV versus the U.S. government, and this is something that's been developing for a while, and we kind of wanted to let it boil just a little bit longer, and boy has it. So this is from an article called "The U.S. Army Retreats from Twitch" by Alex Hearn. Definitely go ahead and check out this article. Everything I take from here is indirectly in the article, and there's some more stuff also if you want to get into the real juiciness of this. So in this article, it says the U.S. Army has retreated from Twitch after a series of guerrilla actions by critics rendered in military recruitment drive untenable and potentially unlawful. Both the U.S. Army and Navy have been active on Twitch since 2019, where their official esports teams share footage of them playing competitive games such as Rainbow Six and Counter-Strike to help with making connections between prospects and recruiters, according to a leaked social media guide. In recent weeks, their presence on the platform has drawn significant criticism. This is something I found hilarious, by the way, this next part. Led by the Twitch user Jordan Yule, waves of viewers began following the accounts, waiting 24 hours to evade spam filters, and then asking the soldiers and sailors to comment on everything from Eddie Gallagher, former Navy SEAL, charged with war crimes, to the My Lai massacre, when American soldiers were killed hundreds of South Vietnamese civilians. This is really interesting because people were like evading these filters, and they were doing speed runs to see how fast they could get banned off of the U.S. Army and U.S. Navy channels. And I think one person, I think it was Jordan Yule, the person that did this, either him or Slasher, who I'll talk about a little bit later, where they went in and literally in like 1 second they got banned, and it's hilarious, like just seeing that. But the Army's Twitch channel banned the offending users, prompting some lawyers to point out that they may have had their First Amendment rights violated. Quote, the government can't try to engineer the conversation of the public by saying only people who agree with us can respond, unquote. Katie Fallow, a lawyer at the Knight First Amendment Institute, said on Monday. The First Amendment, quote, the First Amendment means the government can't kick someone out or preclude them based on their viewpoint, unquote. At the same time, the channel came under fire from Twitch for allegedly running fake giveaways to entice users to click through recruitment pages. When users clicked the links, which told them they would win an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, they arrived on a recruitment form with no extra information about the prize draw.
Shady.
Yeah.
Shady.
The Army said giveaways were enabled for some users, but was nevertheless asked by Twitch to remove the links. Also, yesterday, Twitch temporarily banned President Trump's Twitch for hateful conduct. Rod Slasher Breslau, who is someone that I get a lot of my information from, tweeted, Twitch parentheses, Amazon, suspending Trump's account has now been cited by a congressman as an example for liberal bias among tech companies at today's big tech hearing. Twitch making big leagues. What do we think about this? Twitch is, yes, cracking down on this sort of thing, which is something that they should do. But do you think it's what do you think about this interesting thing about Twitch basically declaring war on the U.S. government?
I think it's good. I think they should crack down. Sorry, Dan.
They started
it. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say they started it. So
yeah, I think they should crack down. They're doing shady stuff, like promising a giveaway, and then you click the link and it takes you to the recruitment site form thing with no mention of the contest details, nothing about it. That is so shady. Also, I think banning the comments that they don't like, I feel like that's really tricky. That's shady. I just think that I feel like they think that they're above the Twitch community guidelines and rules and stuff, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that Twitch is cracking down.
So what about that quote that Slasher said, or that thing he tweeted out, where it's how the account, suspending Trump's account has now been cited by a congressman as an example for liberal bias among tech companies. Do you consider that a liberal thing, or do you think that's more of a website actually doing something that they believe is right?
So I actually just looked it up right now. I'm looking at The Verge, and it says one of the streams in question, in terms of Trump's account, was banned for hateful conduct. Was a rebroadcast of Trump's infamous kickoff rally, where he said that Mexico was sending rapists to the United States, which also flagged racist comments at Trump's recent rally in Tulsa. And let's see. Here, a Twitch spokesperson says, quote, like anyone else, politicians on Twitch must adhere to our terms of service and community guidelines. We do not make exceptions for political or newsworthy content, and will take action on content reported that violates our rules, unquote. So, I mean, they're just they
They're
have
doing
their
their
set of rules
job.
and
Yeah,
they're doing their job.
Mhm.
exactly.
I really don't think it's a political issue. It's the fact
Just-
that
It's a
these,
hate.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, he's spouting hateful content and he gets banned for it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, yeah, and exactly. It's like I hate that people are trying to make this political. Um, like I said, I think it's funny that the Twitch community is trolling, the armies with that. They've since both the army and navy have both since stopped. And, like it brings me to the idea of like how. They say that they have their own esports team, kind of like how Army and Navy have their own football teams and stuff like that. But it makes me think about like if they're doing this to get kids that are super super young about interested in like I wonder what they're doing with football stuff. I know like
Yep.
that's probably much more. There's probably more information there because it's college. You're signing up for this sort of institution and stuff. You know what you're getting into, but rather than this where it's blatant like, hey, like, oh, you're randomly on a recruitment page. Oh man, that's an accident. Or like, oh hey, go ahead and fill out information, but you're not gonna win the Xbox Elite Series 2, whatever the heck
Yeah.
you're doing. God, I just hope that.
I think if anybody did that, it would be super shady. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you're the
They're-
army. It doesn't matter if you're like whatever. Like if you're trying to get people's information for your own personal gain, that's stupid. Ranger Blue says if it's on Twitch, then it's fair game for Twitch moderation. Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Agree.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick, just because that's something that's been burning on my mind that I've been really, really wanting to talk about. But I want to do another little game show. What's up? Did you listen? Yeah.
I know. I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do another little game show to kind of ease out everything. So just recently, the Emmys have put out their nominations and stuff like that. So I want to talk about this, and I want to do a little thing. So I want to see if a person guesses the most amount, like who they think is going to win, and the person with the most amount of like correct answers, they're gonna win something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys want to talk about this right now, but I want to do a competition and see something. I like competitions, as you can tell by the Civil War thing. And I'm just very competitive, and I like want to win something. But we can talk about that on future podcasts and stuff like that. So the first one we're going to talk about, I only have 4, I believe. Yes, I only have 4. So we could have a 4-way tie if we all get them exactly right, or just one right, or none right. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So the first one is Outstanding Comedy Series. So we have Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Good Place, Insecure, The Kaminsky Method, Schitt's Creek, What We Do in the Shadows, and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And I want everyone to give me one pick. Dan, who do you think is going to win most outstanding comedy series?
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows. Okay. And
Yep.
why do you think What We Do in the Shadows is going to win?
Because I'm not going to lie, I haven't seen a lot of these. But What We Do in the Shadows is the brainchild of Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement, which are some of the funniest New Zealanders that you could ever hope to write your movie. They did the original What We Do in the Shadows movie, which starred both of them in, I believe it was 2014. And it's basically The Office with vampires.
It's so good.
It is such a fantastic premise. It's that mockumentary style, but it involves like these vampiric powers that are just used so nonchalantly. And obviously the show follows a different premise. It's different couple of vampires, but I feel like they really perfected the dynamic between a certain group of vampires in that very dorky setting, and then also with just like the continuing story with I won't give away too much, but if you've seen the show with like Guillermo and his past, or his family's past and all that kinds of stuff. I just think it's such a fantastic, hilarious show.
All right, so Nat, I see her typing in it right now. She picks The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yes.
And that was going to be my pick, so I hate you so much.
Ooh.
But God, Marvelous. I know Kiddo Granger in
so
chat
good.
says Dead to Me is so good, and so is Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
The Marvelous Miss Maisel is amazing. I think it's so modern and funny, and I mean, it revolves around a female comedian, so it would make sense that it's super hilarious. And so I think that they do a really good job of kind of blending the humor um, throughout the show, and just the characters that they have, I think, are just great. The stories just continuously getting better, and I think if you haven't watched The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon Prime, then you should do yourself a favor and go ahead and go watch that right now, because
It's fantastic.
really great.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's super good.
Okay, so then it's my time to choose. Oh man, oh god, I was so hoping I was gonna get Marvelous Miss Maisel. Okay, I'm gonna go the easy pick, and I know me and Dan were talking about this a little before, so I'm gonna go ahead and go Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's no way that, I mean, Curb Your Enthusiasm is a fantastic show. Larry David is hilarious, and the way how dry it is. So I just think I'll go Curb Your Enthusiasm, not with full confidence. So
It's a safe pick though.
It's a quick pick. All right, Nat, you're gonna go first this time.
Ooh.
Most outstanding drama series. We have Better Call Saul, The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, The Mandalorian, Ozark, Stranger Things, Succession, and Killing Eve. What do you pick?
I'm gonna say The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
Only because I also like read the book, and it gave me nightmares. Like, it's the only show like on this series that like are on this list of nominations that I feel like just straight up is terrifying and just always has you on the edge of your seat, and it is just something that really sticks in your brain. And so it's just, I think it's gonna win.
I chose Ozark. Ozark is a show. It's a Netflix show with Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, and oh my, I've seen like a little bit of the first season. I haven't seen all of it. I think they're on like season 3 or 4 now. But oh my god, this show it's like a modern, like a newer like Breaking Bad, but like so much more stressful. And I love Jason Bateman in literally anything he does. Like, he's either super funny or super scary. I don't know if you've seen The Gift. That's a very interesting movie with Jason Bateman. That, oh my god, like I recommend go seeing it. Like seeing both Ozark and go see The Gift. Just how crazy those movies are. And then Dan picked The Mandalorian. That's not a surprise to me at all. Dan,
yeah, I mean, well, it's mostly because I'm repping the Star Wars shirt today, but I don't know. I know of a lot of these shows, and I'm pretty sure The Mandalorian's not gonna get it. But for a Star Wars fan, it was really cool to see them do something that, while yes, still for kids, as Star Wars should be, it was very different, and it was a lot more dramatic than any of the movies have ever portrayed. It was the kind of stuff that we only got glimpses of in like the novels, that we kind of got to see on screen with this real underground world where, you know, all this dramatic stuff happens, and it's like, yeah, there's some funny moments in it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a really depressing premise for being a quote unquote kids show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just a Star Wars fan. that's the reason for my pick.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to most outstanding lead actress in a drama series. I'm gonna go first. I picked. Oh, so we have Jennifer Aniston in The Morning Show, Olivia Colman in The Crown, Jodie Comer in Killing Eve, Laura Linney in Ozark, Sandra Oh in Killing Eve, and Zendaya in Euphoria. And I'm picking Sandra Oh in Killing Eve. Sandra Oh is fantastic. I'm not the biggest Grey's Anatomy fan or whatever, but from the stuff that I have seen of her in Killing Eve, she just knocks it out of the park. Like, she is just a fantastic actress, and I believe that this is going to be the first time they're eligible for an Emmy, so I think that the chances are going to be that much better. I see that Natalie has chosen Zendaya for Euphoria. So why is that?
Zendaya.
Zendaya, sorry, my bad. My bad.
Yes, I believe it's Zendaya. I chose. Okay, honestly, I have not seen any of these shows,
Mhm.
but I do know that Euphoria was a huge like HBO breakout show on when it did come out, and I like Zendaya. I think she's really funny. I follow her on Twitter. She tweets a lot. I think she's a really great. She seems like a really great person. She's the youngest person to ever be nominated, I believe, for Outstanding Lead Actress, and
Wow.
I believe, um, what's it called? She is the only Black actress to be nominated in this category right
Mhm.
now. So, um, I would like her to win. You know,
All right, and then
good
Dan
choice.
picked Olivia Colman for the crown. Olivia Colman, isn't she a comedic actress?
I don't even know who that is.
If she is, then it's no surprise that she does well in a drama series, because I've heard the saying that if you're good at comedy, you can do drama like nobody's business.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I haven't seen a whole lot of The Crown. I did start season one, like maybe 2 years ago. But what I did see, I really enjoyed, just because I'm a huge history buff. Um, and I thought all of the acting was phenomenal in that show. I can't really tell you, like, recite a scene that happened in the show because it was such a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I do remember all the actors and actresses in that show being so spot on, so compelling, very, very real, and very dramatic, but not too dramatic.
Nice, nice. And then the last one that we're going to talk about, I'm going to let Dan go first here. It's Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. We have Jason Bateman in Ozark, Sterling K. Brown in This Is Us, Steve Carell in The Morning Show, Brian Cox in Succession, Billy Porter in Pose, and Jeremy Strong in Succession. And I see that Dan has picked Steve Carell in The Morning Show. Dan, you want to talk a little
Yeah,
about that?
I haven't seen the morning show, but I think we can all agree Steve Carell is pretty great,
Yeah.
just as an actor. And it kind of, I guess, the same thing where if you can do comedy, you can do drama. And so, again, I haven't seen the show, but I'm sure that he probably does a fantastic job in this show.
All right, and then Nat went ahead and picked Billy Porter from Pose. I love Billy Porter. I love Billy Porter to death. But like, what's your idea behind that?
So I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen again any of these shows. And so, Billy Porter is the only familiar person. I mean, Steve Carell also, but I don't know. I also just think that Pose was really good. Like the premise of the show, I think was very serious. I always saw people talking about it on Twitter and how it's this really great American drama about, this such like an important time in the like LGBTQ and like non-conforming gender culture in the 1980s. And so I feel like it was very um everybody was talking about it, so I figure it would be a good choice.
All right, and then I picked Jason Bateman Ozark just because again, Jason Bateman is fantastic. The way he is in his character is fantastic, and I think he deserves some nod for that. I don't know if you've ever seen Jason Bateman in The Outsider. It's another HBO show. Oh my god, he's fantastic in that show too. Oh god, like all the stuff that he's not in the show for a very very long time in that show, but the few episodes that he is in is absolutely amazing. And I give so many props to Jason Bateman for being such a great straight man and being and immediately like such a great dramatic person. But with that, everyone, that is going to be the end of our show. So thank you so much for sticking with us for this very long episode of the Geekday podcast. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Go ahead and please follow us on Twitter at the Geekday podcast. We'll be putting up the poll at the very end and see if I'm going to 3-0 Dan, hopefully.
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
I want to thank the new followers today. We got Tijda48, who's my dad, JD Luna 97, J Ruiz 23, Jader underscore, Markred Field 23, and Louis SLVT. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I really do apologize for that. But everyone, we are actually at 50 followers. We finally hit 50 followers, so thank you so much. But that does not mean to stop. Please keep sharing as much as we can. We really, really appreciate all the love and support, especially if you guys can follow us on Twitter and follow us on Instagram, which is also the Geekday Podcast, and then go ahead and give us a like on Facebook, which is Break Time Productions. I'm gonna go ahead and host a channel real quick. Thank you. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you, everyone is giving us congratulations. I really, really do appreciate it. It makes me very happy.
Thank you.
Thanks, yo.
Could not.
Oh, make that another one.
Literally.
Mickey 54560. We're at.
Is that my Mickey? I guess that is.
So. It probably is. But again, thank you so much, everyone, and y'all guys have a great night.